welcome to the Do Better Podcast. I'm your host, Theo Coop. We are back with another video. That's my cat Lazy Bone back there, chewing loudly. So in this particular video, I have a clip from Boyce Watkins. He was giving his opinions on paternity fraud. And basically what he was alluding to is that social media hypes it up. But during this live stream, he's going to take a shot at Kevin Samuels that I just thought was uncalled for. And it was kind of out of the blue. But let's get to it.
If you're messing with normal women, if you're not out here just laying down with just anybody and giving anybody and everybody access to your seed, you're typically not going to have the same problems as the guy who wants to go and try to impregnate a stripper every other weekend. You're not going to have the same issue as the person who doesn't keep track of what they're doing with their body. And I think that it's interesting that we do live in this culture that kind of makes people feel, and women especially, makes them feel that you're empowering yourself by just putting yourself out there like that. I mean, you got all kinds of crazy stuff going on. You got diseases. For men, you have to worry about things like not just diseases, but also getting falsely accused of doing something you didn't do, dealing with crazy people who don't want to let go. There's a lot of problems out there, right? And I think that sort of responsibility in terms of being intelligent about what you do with your body, that's really something I don't even think anybody should have to tell you to do. I don't think it's something people should have to teach you. I think it's or force you into. I think it's something that you'd probably want to do voluntarily.
Read again.
Paternity fraud is, let me just tell you the truth, it's probably more likely if you are sleeping around with just any Tom, Dick, and Harry that walks by. Paternity fraud is more likely if you're dealing with people of low ethical character. Most women typically are not gonna lie about who the daddy is. Don't get me wrong. Women do lie. There are women who lie. There are, when I've seen married women sleeping with men on the side. All these things do happen for sure. However, generally speaking, if you are dealing with a normal situation that's somewhat manageable, you're not going to have a paternity fraud issue. However, just in case, my suggestion to any young man or older man who has a child is I would get that paternity test just to be sure. Because you're talking about a lot of money. And let me just tell you this, paternity fraud is not penalized. It's not punished as a criminal offense, even though it is. That she could lie to you and pretend and manipulate you. And it's very, very hard to file criminal charges. You can typically take it to civil court, get your money back. But to me, that's not enough. I think that there should be criminal charges because that is a form of theft.
And Dr. Watkins makes points here that I obviously agree with. And this just goes to show that he's not a full-blown simp like the internet makes him out to be, but he definitely has his moments. But he's spot on right here, even going as far as saying that there should be criminal charges for paternity fraud. I think he's downplaying it a bit when he's saying that it's usually only low-character people or someone who lives a reckless lifestyle. And like for the most part, women don't lie about maternity. I think that's what I disagreed on, but we had to look at the numbers.
You're taking something that does not belong to you. And also my thought to women is, I think it's extremely important to think carefully. Any woman who loves her kids is going to think extremely carefully about who she lets into her body. I have seen so many children have their heart broken because their daddy was garbage. And they're looking at their mother thinking, why did you choose to get impregnated by a piece of garbage? That one guy who could have been more reliable, who could have been a great dad, you didn't pick him because he didn't seem fly enough and have enough swag and didn't wear alligator shoes and didn't say the right thing to you when you got together went out on a date. He didn't smell good with the sexy cologne or whatever. So literally my whole future has been altered because you wanted to be with the man who had a lot of swag.
Bang! It's good! What's going on, Boyce? You keeping it real today? Boyce is saying some of the same talking points that other people in the space, as well as the late great Kevin Samuels, talked about. Women choosing swag over substance. I don't know what Boyce been drinking this morning before the stream, but he needs to sip more of it.
That's just so crazy to me. That's something very basic. Or the man who played hard to get, or the man who was a little cuter than the other guy. I just really think that's fascinating. That to me is the ultimate butterfly effect, where literally a child's whole life, their whole reality, their experiences over the next 50 years have been altered because their mother thought one guy was too much of a nerd and too boring, and the other guy was interesting and exciting. But the interesting, exciting guy broke your heart, abandoned your child, didn't provide resources, made your child live a life where they feel abandoned, hurt, lonely, sad, and they go through life looking for love in all the wrong places because you did not provide that kid with a father who actually cares about them enough to be there for them on a consistent basis. I just really think this is something where we don't think carefully enough about it. Obviously, it's a wealth conversation too. I think there's nothing wrong with a woman having certain expectations and standards of the types of men that she would even sleep with. I think economics should be part of it, but that can't be enough. I think integrity and character has to be a big part of it as well.
But the problem is, as I stated earlier, a lot of women don't factor in integrity or character whatsoever. Top things that they're looking at is if he looks good and if he makes a bunch of money. If he makes a bunch of money, happens to be tall, especially if the sex game is good, his character will never come into question because they don't care until it's too late, unfortunately.
Talk to the internet. I'm not going to listen to Instagram because Instagram is full, unfortunately, with a lot of lonely, unhappy, unhealthy, toxic people who tell you a bunch of BS about stupid standards that if you maintain those standards that they ask you to maintain, you're going to be single until the day you die. You will die alone. Kevin Samuels used that term, but unfortunately, Kevin Samuels also died alone. So it's not just the women that can die alone, it's the men too.
Oh.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
What the hell did Kevin Samuels have to do with this conversation? What was the point of even bringing him up? And I've noticed this while watching this stream to make this video. Something I noticed a long time with Boyce is that he has a hard time sticking to one subject. This stream was supposed to be about paternity fraud, and he shifted into talking about the school system at one point, and then just taking this random shot at Kevin Samuels. From what I know, I don't believe you ever met Kevin Samuels. I could totally be wrong, but why are you speaking on this man after his death? First of all, him actually dying alone, I believe that has been debunked on numerous occasions. But even if that is in fact correct, what do you gain out of saying that? What was the point of bringing that up? And that's not the first time you disparaged this man after his passing. I remember a clip from another podcast where he regurgitated the same rhetoric just a couple of months after his passing. And this came out July 18th of 22, so about 2 months after KS's passing.
How long has it been since Kevin Samuels passed? It's been
Couple months.
Wow. How'd you feel about that? And then all the people that were saying they were glad that he passed away, and all the hate and vitriol just kind of came out when this man passed away. Could you kind of talk about that whole thing?
Yes, I was very sad to see Kevin die. Nobody deserves to die like that. And also, I paid attention to Kevin when Kevin blew up. Unfortunately, with that first video where he told that lady she was going to die alone or something like that. And I didn't just look at the videos he was doing then. I looked at what he did years before, because someone had mentioned to me that he did a whole show about me, and I didn't know it. I was like, oh, let me see, because I don't watch videos that people do about me. And I said, okay, this guy's logical. He's intelligent. A lot of the information Kevin shared 4 years ago was stuff that was totally cool. Like, I would have totally loved to have, bringing him in on a regular basis, etc. Here was the challenge with Kevin. The challenge was that Kevin had spent years trying to grow his platform, and his shit blew up when he attacked a black woman. He told her she was going to die alone. It blew up, and Kevin's smart, right? So he knew the algorithm. He knew that if he just puts the words "die alone" in the title of a video, it's going to blow up. So he started doing a lot of videos with the words "die alone." She's going to die alone. She's going to die alone.
Also, in that clip, Dr. Watkins talked about how Mr. Samuels' infamous average at best video that went viral. He said after that Mr. Samuels went on to make video after video saying that you're going to die alone, you're going to die alone and whatnot. I actually debunked what he said right here in this clip. It's actually edited in this video, and I just wanted to double check what Boyce was saying. I'm in Kevin Samuels' library right now. Here's the infamous average at best video. And he said something in the video about the next 10 titles, insinuating that there was, shock value when he was doing the same thing, saying that women would die alone right after that to keep pushing it in the algorithm. If you look at his library, that's not the case. Here's what's average at best, and here are the next 9 videos. What are the titles? Educated, happy, and single, don't need no man. Women choices are unfair. Successful attorney has given up on dating. Salute to the Blizzard King, Dennis Sperling. I even went a step further. I went to Kevin Samuels' library again, and I just searched the word "die alone" because Dr. Watkins said that he used this title over and over again. Kevin Samuels has approximately 859 videos on his channel, and the term "die alone," he uses it in 4. Not even the video that went viral. You're average at best. He doesn't even have that. He used the term dying alone in 4 videos. Now, it took me a while to see it, but now I understand why a lot of people don't like you.
So it's not just the women that can die alone, it's the men too. Because I think that for those men that do get hit with that paternity fraud, that's pretty massive. It's devastating both to him and to the child, because this child grows up believing that this person is their father, and then they find out when they're 15 or 20 that that's not my dad. I mean, you want to talk about a lifetime therapy bill? You want to talk about being in therapy for the next 20 years? That's horrible. And it's even worse when the father just lets go of his responsibility to the kid. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Call me what you want to, but if I was lied to in that situation, which I wouldn't be, I've never ever. When I was young, I didn't do that stupid stuff. I wasn't trying to just go lay down with any big butt and smile. Even when tons of women were chasing after me or whatever, I pick my women carefully, because you got to pick who's around you carefully. You can't be running around with just anybody. But if I was stuck in that situation and there was a child that was raised believing that I was their dad, I would never, ever, 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 ever let anybody tell them otherwise. Even if the paternity test came back weird, I would talk to the mother and I'd say, look, I'm willing to keep up the charade if you want to.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
What?
Or we could just say, let's tell him together, but let him know I'm here. Because kids didn't do anything wrong. Kids were not the ones out hoeing, and being irresponsible. The kids were not the ones out picking poorly in their relationships. The children are just here. And kids deserve love, and it bothers me. I saw a case like that where a poor guy had been lied to for 20 years. In fact, he went to jail for child support. That's how crazy it was. He literally did 5 years in jail because he didn't pay his child support, and the kid wasn't his. And he had to go tell the kid, "I'm sorry, I'm not your father." And I would have just said, if I've been your dad this whole time, let's just keep it going. Maybe I'll tell you we can go look for your father, but I'm here for you. And I don't understand why people think that's weird. I don't get it. I think it's crazy that people don't care about kids. I think fathers, when I see fathers not really caring about their own kids or caring about kids, period, I think that's weird. Or saying that it's stupid to date a woman that has kids. I married a woman with kids, and I'm very happy. I love those kids. I love raising and mentoring Black children. I don't understand a culture where people just see kids as a nuisance, and maybe it's because I see when one day when I get older, they're going to be the ones in power, and they're going to remember how you treated them.
It's not people that see children as a nuisance. In reality, people are responsible for their own children. In the big scheme of things, if the world was perfect, yes, all children would be taken care of. But that's not reality, Doc. And you got a PhD, man. Come on now. And of course, it goes without saying men should take care of their own children. But this notion that if a man is fathering a child and finds out through a paternity test that it's not his child, that he's weird or not as much of a man if he doesn't stay in that situation.
This nigga's crazy.
Men don't want to be responsible for taking care of other men's children.
Like I love openly telling the story about how my father took care of me. He adopted me when I was 3. He didn't have to do it. He would have been called a simp because he married my mother and he adopted me. He did not have to do that. And he raised me. Well, because you were there for me when my own father was not. You provided for me when nobody else gave a damn about me. You had my back when nobody else did. You defended us when we were vulnerable. When I was a little knucklehead baby with a single mother who was 17, 18 years old, who didn't have a nickel in her pocket, you came through for us like a superhero. You were a goddamn superhero to me.
And that's great that happened for Boyce. His mom was able to find somebody to step in and take that fathership role. Side note, you notice that his mom was a teenage mother. We'll leave that there. And also, that won't ever get any criticism from Boyce. I'm not one of those people that say, don't ever be a stepfather. I'm just saying it's obvious why most men wouldn't. And I also think the difference is at one point, stepfathers were respected, but now a lot of modern women don't have any humility, and they act as if you coming in and helping her raise her children, they act as if that's a gift to you. Like you should be lucky to do so. And that's where the problem lies, in my humble opinion.
And I really think all the fathers out there, I want to give a shout out to all the fathers out there, all the play dads and the guys who ended up becoming stepdads and everything else. And, I know people out here just talking crazy or whatever about you, but no, like those kids, of course you're supposed to come through for your own kids. That's a given. But it's easy to love your own kids. I mean, that's your seed. That's selfish. It's easy to love your own children. That's easy. But when you can care about children that are abandoned out here, all these Black kids that get their feelings hurt, where their parents are on drugs, parents in jail, parents don't care, and you come through for a kid like that, I want to give a shout out to all those parents because I just think you are the heroes of the Black community.
Off my screen, Boyce. Again, I'm not without nuance. I totally understand what he's saying from the aspect of these children don't have a say in any of this. And they usually are a result of two adults being piss poor at their decision making and then also not wearing protection. But I definitely disagree with paternity fraud is just mostly done by morally corrupt people. I just think a lot of women will just lie about paternity just to get away with it if a man isn't smart enough to get a DNA test. My YouTube channel is only 14 months old, and I was actually a supporter of Boyce Watkins for probably a better part of 8 to 10 years. I've been following his content. And one thing that I noticed with Boyce is that Boyce would get into it with a lot of people. And I never could fully understand why. I had to sit back and realize that Boyce is quite condescending, he's disingenuous, and he plays dumb. He tries to act as if he doesn't understand why he gets some of the backlash for some of the things he said. That's why I remember when Kwame Brown went in on him. And I thought Boyce kind of had it coming.
Fuck with the wrong one, Doc. You beta male nigga. You never liked my kind. Look at the way you talk to people, Doc. You a condescending bitch.
Sort of agent, and I'm some sort of guy who's elitist. I mean, if you look at my track record, you'll see there's none of that. Now I do say that I will probably only appeal to the top 10% of Black people.
And you, bitch boy, you sound like an elitist, and then you just admitted it. You only want 10% when only Black boys are reading at a 4th grade reading level, sir. How the fuck can you only say you want 10%, dummy? That means all the single mamas you trying to tell these Black boys to marry, all of them are not in them 10% that you looking for, sir. You talk so much and you talk out of both sides of your goddamn neck that if somebody take the time to listen to your arrogant, smart, condescending, fake ass, they'll see you ain't for nobody but yourself.
The last thing I'll say, boys, just keep Kevin Samuels' name out your mouth, man. It was no reason whatsoever to bring that man's name up in that moment. You were talking about paternity fraud. You say salacious things, and then when people criticize you and get on your fucking neck, then you act as if, well, I don't know, well, you could have just reached out to me, man. Stop taking shots at people who can't defend themselves. Put everything else to the side. That's not how men should operate. You guys let me know what you think after party in the comments. It's your commander, Theo Coop Pachuki.
Call me bitch.
Boys, do better.
You beta male nigga.
Excuse me, bitches?